Welcome, welcome, and welcome. Let me get the tickety talk up here. Adjust this a little bit. Cut my head off. Where? There we go. All right, we are live on the Tickety Talk. We are live on the YouTube there. Welcome, welcome, welcome to yet another edition of the Mindfulness Power Hour. This will be the last Power Hour of the summer. Now, I know technically the summer isn't over till sometime in September, but for us parents, summer is over when the kids go back to school. And this week, the kids went back to school. My middle and youngest child returned to school on Wednesday. It has been absolutely phenomenal, totally glorious. I is very, very excited to get back on that nice school year routine of getting up in the morning, getting them out the door. It's amazing how much that structure and routine just affects my ability to get up and get things done. Wednesday was their first day back. Went outside and weeded my front went outside and went and weeded my front flower bed for a couple hours. Got all that taken care of. I got my fridge cleaned out. I got my freezer cleaned out. So it has definitely been a very productive day. That is for sure. Today I was even able to go for a bike ride. It was short because I had sessions and had to get back to work, but I still got out there. I still got riding that bike. So things are definitely doing pretty good over here right now. Very excited to be here again. I feel like this is my way of protesting everything that is going on in today's world. That as the world continues to go to shit, it is my job to remind everybody that we don't have to go to shit with it, right? That we can still carve out our niche, our little bubble. We can still work hard to make our world sparkle like a motherfucker, right? That we don't have to just live in the doom and the gloom. We don't have to live in the depression and the sadness. That we can and will find ways to persevere to get through and get through this capitalistic hellscape in which we find ourselves, right? And I think one of the things that we're going to be working on with this Mindfulness Power Hour is maybe talking a little bit, being a little bit more cognitive of that fact that it is that crazy out there right now. It is that problematic out there right now. It makes it really hard to have hope when we're in such a hopeless world, but yet the hope must remain. We cannot let them win. We cannot give up on the future because of the current state of things. You know, we definitely have the means and the abilities to push back, to fight back, to do something about this. Looks like I forgot my phone charger, so hopefully that phone is enough charged. So, with that all said and done, we're going to go ahead and get started today with working to leave all of that noise and chaos and nastiness behind. We're going to work to take some time in for ourselves to block out the chaos of the world and the capitalist hellscape in which we find ourselves. We're going to work hard to take an hour to develop that mindfulness ability. Because remember, mindfulness is something that you develop. It is not what you do. It is how you do something, right? We can eat mindfully. We can shower mindfully. We can drive mindfully. We can listen to music mindfully. There's a lot of different ways to find that mindfulness. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this Power Hour, or as I like to call it, the Mindfulness Amateur Hour, is to challenge people to take that time in for themselves, to show up for themselves, to practice these exercises and make those investments in their self-care, right? Because that's the name of the game. So we're going to start by working on taking 10 deep breaths as I sit here and play my wah-wah tube. We want you guys to get as comfortable as you can, whether you're sitting down, laying down. Make sure you have some liquids, some refreshments. Don't do anything that is going to hurt yourself or challenge yourself. push yourself past your point of tolerance, right? We just want to take some deep breaths, fill that belly full of air, and really work to leave the chaos of the world behind us and focus on the here and now and this awesome opportunity to practice some mindfulness. So I hope everybody's ready. Take that big deep breath. Exhale. Another deep breath. Exhale. And another deep breath. I'll really work hard to slow down that exhale, right? That's where a lot of the good comes from, those deep breaths. Another one. I found sometimes when I purse my lips, it helps me make sure that exhale is nice and stretched out, nice and elongated. Give it a go. See if it makes a difference for you. All right. Last deep breath. Ah, I like this thing. It is a very nice addition to the sound baths and the sound healing I'm getting into. I don't know. I just find that wah wah tube just so refreshing, so pleasing to the ears. I really, really do. What's up with the wigs? I am actually in my wife's craft room tonight. She is not feeling so well, so instead of being able to hang out at my office space where I do my therapy, I am here in my wife's craft room because I said I was going to show up tonight. I said I was going to show up tonight and do another Mindfulness Power Hour. Despite the circumstances, despite having to be in my wife's craft room again, we're doing the things. I would usually turn it and face the other direction, but with the way the sun is coming through the window, it is just not feasible today. So you get to stare at my wife's pretty wonderful wigs for all the wonderful cosplays that we do. So yeah, that's what's up with the wigs. So now that we've taken some deep breaths and worked to invite that mindfulness, invite that intention of what we want to get out of this hour for ourselves here. I know I like to start off, the session, really talking about self-care. What have we been doing for self-care? This is where when we have people in the chats and things like that, I want to hear from you. What is your self-care looking like? What are you doing for yourselves right now? Because as tough as the world is, as lifey as it is, as peoply as it is, as much existence, as much effort as it takes to exist in today's world, right? Self-care, finding those positive moments for ourselves can be such an important thing. We really need to work hard to still take that time in for ourselves, right? And oftentimes it's recognizing that the world is going to battle test us, so we got to get battle ready, right? So for me, since the last time we talked on July 3rd, right, almost a month and a half ago since the last one of these, I have been up to a whole host of different things. I had a family reunion out in Ohio. I got to see 2 nights of Fish in Philly with that Wednesday night show where they did the Macarena. Was actually my 50th Fish show. So that was a huge milestone for me to hit. We did another memorial camp out for my buddy Pugsley, who overdosed a few years ago with all our friends and family. That was a smashing success. I took my kid to see AJR in Columbus, Ohio, where they were playing at the Ohio State Fair. So we got to go check out a state fair before going and enjoying the awesomeness that is AJR. That was really freaking cool to see a fair of that size, right? It was gigantic, so much space. Then the following day, that Saturday, I went to KennyCon, the local event run by the American Coaster Enthusiasts, where we spent 11 hours at Kennywood, ending with an hour of exclusive ride time on the Phantom's Revenge. So what that meant was there was a group of 50 of us that got their ride to Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood for as long as we wanted, for as many times as we could. You'd come back in on the station. If there was nobody there getting on your train, you're able to ride again immediately. If there was, you were able to get off to the left, which is the opposite of usual, and get right back in line. That was an incredible experience as somebody who was very terrified of the Phantom's Revenge. It was kind of good to get over that a little bit. I rode it about 3 times. My kid rode it about 7 to 8 times. It was definitely a great way to celebrate them turning 15 years of age. That is for sure. So lots of traveling, lots of music, lots of concerts, right? That is a lot of my self-care, but that's not all I was up to, right? I continue to wake up each day and do 20 to 40 minutes of meditation. I continue to get 3-4 days a week of powerlifting in. In fact, in terms of the powerlifting, we just had our 1-rep max test. I got both my squat and my deadlift close to 200 pounds. My bench press is up to about 140. So things are really moving in that direction as well. I'm continuing to show up for myself and work out and build up that dopamine and build up that positivity. And it's really starting to pay off. It's very interesting when I do things like make muscles like this and like you can see indents, you can see it. Like I can feel it in my calves. Like there's muscles in places I didn't even know muscles existed. It has definitely been fascinating to mark the journey in that regards. Because for those that don't know, June 2024 is when I was like, okay, we got to get after the physical side of things. We can't just keep eating ourselves to death and not exercising. I'm definitely not avoiding the French fried potatoes as much as I should be, but we're working on it. We are definitely working on eating healthier, drinking healthier, not down to Diet Pepsis horrendously. This is the only one I'm going to have today. Just continuing all around to work on that self-care. Because especially being a grief and trauma, it's been a long day. Especially being a grief and trauma certified therapist, if I don't take that time in for myself, if I don't do these things, then I'm no good to any of y'all, right? I'm no good to Yin's guys at all. I can't help my clients. I can't help people heal. I can't show up for myself. It just doesn't work if I'm not taking care of myself. And I also want that self-care to serve as an inspiration to Yin's guys, right? That, in order for me to manage my ADHD, anxiety, depression, I do got to put in the work, right? I do got to put in the work. That's just how it is, right? Resistance takes effort, right? And I know that more than most because of the line of work that I'm in, being a mental health therapist. So that's why we're going to keep getting after it, right? That's why I really consider this is my form of resistance. This is my form of protest, is challenging everybody and anybody I can to show up for themselves, to take some time in for themselves, to make investments in themselves, because it's so important now more than ever to take care of ourselves, to push back against the screens and the stress and the toxicity of our culture and our world, and find the good and focus on doing the next right thing, right? Focus on, putting up a fight and doing something about the world in which we live, and working hard together to fix this world in which we live, right? This world is so broken. It is so toxic. It is so poisonous. We cannot continue like this anymore. We have to stand up and do something about it, right? We just have to. And I really am convinced that that action starts with our self-care. It starts with our mental health. It starts with how we take care of ourselves, the investments we make in ourselves. It is such an important thing. It really is. And that's where when I start off these mindfulness power hours, or the mindfulness amateur hours, I like to call it. I think it's where I like starting off with that self-care, that focus on the self-care. So I can talk about it, right? Because part of this series is a video log for me, to kind of just mark my journey as a presenter, as a public speaker, as hosting workshops, as doing sound healings and meditations, and really branching out of just doing traditional talk therapy. This is supposed to serve as a video log of that journey, to remind myself of where I was and where I'm coming from. That's where I continue to hope to build this online community, to get people talking about their mental health, to get that mental health awareness out there, right? It is such an important thing. So that's why we always start off with talking self-care, right? And I hope you guys out there are working hard to take care of yourself, finding those ways to nourish that soul. It is so, so, so important. Um, and then after we get done talking about self-care and how important it is, the next thing I really like to talk about here in this space is gratitude, right? With as many things wrong as there are in this world, and there's many problems and issues and conflicts and concerns that we can identify and perseverate on, it is so important to take a moment to recognize what is working, what is going well. What is a part of our life that makes us happy, that we're glad is there, right? It is such an important thing to make sure we're talking about the good, right? So I encourage you, whether you're watching this live, whether you're watching it on the replay, think about what is going good in your life. Think about what is happening in your life that is bodacious, ripe with awesomeness. What are you grateful for? And I talked about it a little bit ago, and so you guys might have an idea what I'm grateful for today. But what I'm grateful for today is the fact that my kids are back in school. I am grateful that they have a safe school to attend. I'm grateful that we have transportation so they can get to and from school without me having to commute them. I'm grateful that they relatively enjoy learning. So it's not as big of a fight to get them to go. That they generally enjoy themselves at school and are as excited about learning as I was at their age. I'm grateful for having the free time again in the morning, to get things done, to be able to pick up and clean up the house, so that when my wife comes home in the evening, it is in better shape than it has been all summer. Right? I'm just so grateful, to get back on that school routine, and kind of revamp things around the house. One of the things I'm really working on is kind of a personal goal right now, is to not have 9 a.m. sessions. I really want to work to start my day at 10. Last kid gets on the bus at 8:30. That'll give me about half hour, 45 minutes or so to red up the house, to pick up this, to do that, right? And just accomplish those chores, and just make that better, healthier, clean living space, right? So I have so much fun over summer, so much music, so much traveling, so much goodness. In fact, this past Saturday was the first Saturday in a month I woke up in my own bed, right? So it's been a busy, active summer, which is an amazing thing. But man, the yin and yang there, the other side of that is it's really nice to be back on a school routine. And I'm so grateful for it. So grateful we reached this point in the year where I can kind of exhale, and get on with some of these tasks that I've been putting off. All right. So please, whether it's live, whether it's the replay, let me know what you're grateful for. Let me know what your self-care is looking like. Let me know what you're doing to take action and to nurture your soul, right? To make your life a little better. It is such an important thing. Um, so without that, with all that said, this now comes to the time of the programming where I like to do some coping skills, right? Whether it's some deep breathing, whether it's some meditations, right? There's a lot of different ways to develop that mindfulness to help our brain focus on the here and now, to reset that nervous system of ours. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. What we're going to do today is we are going to do some brain humming. One of my specialties, right? And in fact, if you follow me on Instagram, if you check out my Facebook page, you follow me on the Tickety of Talks, one of the things that you hopefully know is that this Sunday coming up, August 24th, 12 to 5 p.m., I will be happy to be participating in an amazing event called Wellness in the Woods. This is an incredible wellness event that is actually free of charge. To attend the event, there is no cost. It is a family-friendly event. It is a great thing going on. Now, they do have VIP tickets that do cost a little bit of change for some different events. Sorry, I'm trying to find the listings real quick so I can make sure I give you guys all the information. Of course, the computer is failing me here. So I know it is this Sunday, 12 to 5. I will be giving a live demonstration of the brain humming there. It'll be in the afternoon. Oh, hold on, I got it right here. Almost there. Here it is. Here's the schedule. Yeah, so my wellness thing will be at 2:30 in the pavilion, but they have cultivating Qui, channel of light, activating our chakras, right? There is a mushroom who with lifted spirits. There's a sound bath at 4 p.m. The VIP workshops are a root and rise, a grounding exercise from 12:15 to 12:45. 1:45 to 2:15 is chakra yoga. And then 3:30 to 4 is wellness activation, a guided class on mobility, core, and strength and breath work. So lots of different stuff going on. Awesome stuff for the VIP tickets. They're right now $66. But remember, you don't have to get the VIP. It is free admission, right? There's a nature walk bingo. There's all kinds of goodness here going on. And this is at Evergreen Park in Pittsburgh, PA. This Sunday, 12 to 5, Wellness in the Woods, Evergreen Park, Pittsburgh, PA. I'll be there as a vendor, as a workshop host. It's going to be truly awesome. So, in kind of prep for the workshop that I'm going to be doing there, to kind of make sure I'm on top of my game, we're going to be working and doing some brain humming on this mighty fine evening. We're not going to do a full body sound sequence today. That is what I will be doing at Wellness in the Woods on Sunday. What we're going to do tonight is just work with the 3 sounds, focus on the energy points within our headspace. We're going to be working on Eem. That is the top of our head. We're going to be working with Aim. That is on our forehead. And then we're going to be working I'm. And that is in our throat chakra. Okay, much like the deep breathing that we started the programming with, please make sure you're comfortable. Please don't overdo things. Please don't force things. Remember, you do not need to match my pitch, match my tone, match my length. We want you to do what you can do and be comfortable and safe with it, right? We don't want anybody getting hurt because they're doing some brain humming, right? I also remind you guys that there are optional hand positions, right? So as you saw, I took my hat off and see my wonderful hair. The camera is uh, uh, mirrored, so it's opposite of how it is here in real life. It's fun. So there's opposite hand positions, right? So we're going to be able to be on top of our heads, right? This is really good for headaches, right? Really helps us when we got some headaches. Aim is we're going to hold the forehead and the back of the neck, right? And when we do I, we're going to be just kind of holding our throat like this. Those hand positions are totally optional, but they do help channel the vibrations to where we want them to go, which is an incredible thing, right? So we're going to do each of these sounds. We'll do the 3 sounds. We're going to do 3 instances of each with a big breath in between, just trying to slower things down. Remember, the reason why brain humming is so effective is because it directly affects our parasympathetic nervous system. It really helps stimulate that vagus nerve, which then activates that wonderful brain of ours full of all those brain chemicals, right? The oxytocin, the serotonin, the dopamine, the nitric oxide, all that good shit can be generated this way. So I find it to be a very wonderful coping skill, a very powerful coping skill, and one that a lot of my clients really, really enjoy. So we're going to be combining aim, and I'm with that at the end, and to do some of that auditory vagus nerve stimulation. So enough talking. Let's get after it. We're going to be taking a big deep breath in. We're starting with aim. Last one. Breath in. All right. That was good. That was good. All right. Hat back on to cover that hair up. All right. Now we're doing our second sound tonight. This is going to be A with at the end of it. So aim. Again, the optional hand positions. All right. On the forehead and the back of the neck. I'm going to do this 3 times again. Again. One last time. A big breath in. Hopefully, we're getting a little tingly, maybe feeling a little relaxed, allowing that vagus nerve to kind of reset itself, allowing those happy brain chemicals to flood through our brain. We're going to now move to our last sound today of this for what we're doing in this demonstration today. Remember, we'll be doing a full body sequence at the Wellness and Wood event this Sunday. But for now, this is going to be our last sound. This is going to be I with at the end of it. So I'm, and this one is going to be our throat chakra. So we can hold our hands just like this. Try to send those vibrations the best we can right to our throats. All right, we're going to do this one 3 times too. Ready? Last one. Big breath in. All right, we little mini brain humming sound sequence there, y'all. I know. Hey, that can be a sign that you stimulated the vagus nerve, that yawn, right? I know I feel a lot better. I love teaching you guys how to do these things. It means I get a chance to do them, which is just phenomenal in my opinion. Um, and that really, brings us to the end of today's programming. I know I call it the Mindfulness Power Hour, but we don't necessarily always need to take the whole hour. It's really just working to carve out some time for ourselves, some time in for ourselves, right? To do some good for ourselves, right? My hope is as we continue to do these things, we'll build more of a live audience. We'll be able to get this to be a more interactive kind of program, which will allow us to take more time to discuss the issues that you guys are concerned with, to learn about the topics that you guys are concerned about, right? So we can really make this a collaborative mental health online community where we can talk about our struggles, talk about that invisible illness that, runs the show in a lot of our lives, whether we want to or not, right? I encourage you guys to please like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on TikTok. Check my business page out on Facebook at August Glass Wellness. Other socials are the Yinzer Therapist 37. Let's work together to heal the world as much as we can, to get as much mental health healing out there as we can, right? Together, we work to do this together. We can make that a thing. We can work hard to turn things around. I always appreciate you guys showing up, whether it's live or on the replay. I appreciate all the love and support that I've gotten on this journey of creating online content and really trying to spread that mental health awareness, right? Starting in September, that is in here in 2 weeks, amazingly enough. The plan is every Thursday, once it hits September, that we're going to be doing these power hours. Right now, over the summer, it's been kind of hit or miss. It's been every other, it's the first and second Thursdays. People don't always quite know which ones those are. So I'm hoping that when we start doing every Thursday here, starting in September, it'll be a little easier for people to join live, to check things out. It'll be easier for people to have it in their routine, to check out the replays, and we can work together to really build that and spread that mental health awareness. So thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for showing up for yourselves. Remember to keep practicing these skills, keep working on practicing those wellness strategies, because you never know quite when you're going to need them. You never know quite when life is going to be really lifey, people are going to be really peoply, work's going to be very worky, school's going to be very schooly, right? It's just kind of the way things work today. It's these kind of coping skills that can help us push back and make a difference. Thank you again. I'm Mr. Ryan, the Yinzer Therapist. Catch you on the flip side. Thank you for getting your wellness on. Peace.